Friends, welcome to the guitar show. I don't know. We're doing live every day here in April, and so it's kind of the guitar show, but it's kind of not because this is impromptu and we're going live every single day. So we'll call it what we want, but it is the 30-day guitar challenge, and this is day 6, and we are gonna have a blast. We're gonna learn a ton of stuff. I'm gonna get your questions answered. We're gonna keep up for 2 hours solid, focus on things that we can do to be positive, to improve ourselves, right? I mentioned to you guys, well, you know this isn't a mystery, but we're doing this thing for 30 days. It's not a mystery that it takes 21 to 30 days to build a habit. It's not a mystery that you're here. It's not a mystery that we're doing the 30-day guitar challenge, or that you can get into the Unstoppable Guitar System for $1, the whole enchilada, for 30 days, and try everything out for $1. It's also not a mystery that I teach the first 30 lessons to you for free inside the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard, and you have access to all of this stuff today, okay? I'm really excited about this. So, as per my promise, I'm going live with you every single day for the month of April. We're doing 2 hours every single day from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., 11 to 12. I'm doing a beginner lesson, which is basically walking you through the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard, the one that you have available for you today. And then from 12 to 1, I'll be doing advanced or intermediate to advanced lessons for those of you that are further along than others. And that only happens because of practice, not because of anything else, okay? Just remember that. This right here is one of the pages that's in the PDF that you can find today. You can either snapshot this, but it would make a lot more sense if you just downloaded the PDF, which is the very first link below. Like this video you're watching right now, just right there. It's the very first link that you'll see. It's blue, I think. Click on it, then you can download that PDF for free. It'll tell you what we're doing here, the philosophy behind it. It's really important that you understand that, by the way. And then I also have some other links to things that will be very important for you during this time that are going to help you to improve your mind, to improve your body, to improve all sorts of things. You're kind of stuck here for 30 days, right? So let's do it. I'm going to spend time with you. I'm going to teach you how to do this, how to play guitar. And in the meanwhile, you can also be doing other things. Like I'm doing a squat challenge. I'm doing a push-up challenge. I'm doing a meditation challenge right now. I'm doing all sorts of things right now because why wouldn't I, right? So I'm up to 45. I got to do 46 push-ups today. I did 45 yesterday in one fell swoop. I was only doing up to 30 every single day, and then now I'm up to 45. And I wasn't doing it every single day. That's why I wasn't building up, just like guitar, right? And then I did 55 squats yesterday, been meditating, all sorts of great stuff. So as you build your stamina and all this stuff, you're just gonna get better and better at whatever it is that you decide to embrace and to get good at. So, you know, what we're doing for this first hour here is I'm literally walking you through. So today is number 6, day 6, the language of guitar. I'm gonna be talking to you about diatonic harmony. This PDF is in the Unstoppable Guitar System, the one that you can get today for free, second link below. When I say these things, you should be getting these, right? You should be opening these up, okay? So this is going to be definitions that we need to know. That's the actual name of the lesson, definitions that we need to know. Today we're calling this the language of guitar, just because, okay? And we're gonna talk about this in detail. So literally what I'm doing is I'm walking you through the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard. So even if you've been playing for a long time, it's really gonna help build your solid foundation. Then we'll do the pro lesson at noon. I'm also going to be getting your questions in real time. So after I teach the lesson, I'm gonna be getting to your questions in real time. Real quick order of business. If you have not already, please thumb this video up. Please like it. If you've done it already, don't do it again because you'll just delete the like that you did. So thumb this video up, and while you're at it, also share it. So there's a share button. Just send it out in space. I don't care where. Send it out into cyberspace, Twitter, Instagrams, however the app lets you do it. Do that for me, if you would, please. That would be so kind to let other people know, hey, we're having a great time here and we're improving ourselves. And lastly, if you want to donate, which people have been donating here lately, and it's been very helpful, so appreciated. At the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a little smiley face, and then next to that, there's a dollar symbol, and you can click on that. And if you want to donate, not asking for donations, but if you want to, then it would be so appreciated. And you guys have really been coming through for me here during this time, and I very, very, very much appreciate it. Thank you. And the crew appreciates it, because we can't get to the studio. Everybody's working from home. Hydrate. Okay, so, and what I was just playing there just a few minutes ago was just a little B minor chord progression that I came up with just right before the program, and I was using lots of B minor pentatonic, B minor blues, a little bit of B minor, and I was using lots of inversions, which we're going to talk about at noon today. Inversions, okay? It's a type of chord, okay? So, you ready to get into this? All right, save those questions because I'll get to them in just a minute. So right now I'm looking at this little thing, which if you're in the Unstoppable Guitar System already, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can take a screenshot of this if you want, but better yet, just get in the program, which is the second link below, and then you're gonna have access to all these fine PDFs that we've put together here for you, okay? All right, here, let's talk about it. Other than the psychology of guitar, which I talk about as being the most important lesson in guitar always, is the understanding the why it is that you're playing guitar and understand some of the bits and pieces that you're going to be running into. Kelly, thank you so much for the donation. So kind of you, so sweet, thank you. Other than the psychology of guitar and understanding that, this is the next most important lesson. There has to be an important lesson more than another, right? This one's so important because it's literally laying the foundation for everything that all the rest of this stuff is built upon. And if you don't know these basic things here, then you're just gonna have a really hard time doing anything. I mean, imagine if you really were passionate about being a cook. Look, you're here because you're passionate about guitar. Imagine you being passionate about cooking, but you don't know what a salt is, and you don't know what an acid is, and you don't know what these different elements of cooking are. You're gonna have a really hard time cooking without understanding what it is that makes a recipe taste the way it should taste, right? And same thing with guitar. If you don't know these basic definitions, if you don't know these basic, the basic language of guitar and music in general, then you're not, number one, you're not going to be able to talk with another musician. You're going to ask questions here in the chat that may seem a little bit goofy, because if you hear me say, hey, my friend, thank you for asking that question, but I don't understand what you're saying, it's because you don't have the nomenclature. You don't have the basic structure of music, and so we can't really communicate very well. But if you know just a smattering of information, if you know what's on this page, which is like maybe the 6th guitar lesson in, something like 7th guitar lesson in the course. If you knew what this was, you would know the majority, or you would know more than most guitar players out there, and it would really help you to do so. So I implore you to do this, okay? So we're going to be talking about some definitions that we need to know, and we're also going to be talking about the basics of diatonic harmony. Diatonic harmony is the harmony or the structure of music that will absolutely help you to understand the structure of music. Once you understand the basic structure, and it's so easy. If I can get it, it took me 5 times to get through algebra in college. If I can get this, you most certainly can get this, okay? Cool, here we go. So number one, the musical alphabet. We're gonna talk about some basic bits here, okay? The musical alphabet goes from A to G. Now, some of you know this, some of you don't. Just stick with me. There's no H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. At least in the English language, the English music language, there's not. And okay, in Germany, I think there is an H, but not in America, not in England, not in English-speaking countries. When we're talking about music, it's A through G. It stops there. It doesn't keep going, all right? A through G. Then it starts over again. A half step, just stick with me here because all this stuff's going to come together here in just a minute. A half step is the distance between one fret and the next fret. So literally this distance, this is an interval. Some people think about it as time, and that's fine. But in regards to music, it's the musical distance between two notes. So if we're talking from the 3rd fret to the 4th fret, we're talking a half a step or 1 fret. That's the interval distance, a half a step. Okay, 2 half steps. So we're starting here. We go 1, 2. 2 halves make a whole. So this is a whole step. Okay, we're going someplace with this. Okay. A sharp is when we raise a note up. So have you ever heard that? Somebody says, ah, man, they're singing too sharp. That means they're going over the note. Or they say, oh, that singer's singing flat. They're singing below the note. Okay? So think about flattening a balloon, and as far as sharp, just think like the point of maybe like a steeple or a pyramid or something sharp. It's going sharp, going to the top. Okay? So that's the difference between sharp and flat. We can say that a note is sharp, we can say that a note is flat, we can also use it as an adjective for another note, so like a G sharp or an A flat. Okay, we're saying it's a G, but it's a type of G, it's a G sharp. Or if it's an A flat, we're saying it's a type of A, it's an A flat, it's another note, okay? Some of this stuff you're gonna get right away, some of it you're not. You need to marinate in it. So don't get frustrated if you don't get it overnight, you shouldn't, okay? It boggles my mind sometimes when people get frustrated with it so quickly, because it seems like with every other subject they're fine with, like learning like a language or cooking or whatever people are patient with, but when it comes to music and guitar, people are like, they think they're going to get it overnight, and it doesn't work like that. So just be patient with yourself, okay? Every note has a sharp except for B and E. I'll say it again. Every note has a sharp except for B and E. So if that's true, then if we were to play an A, by the way, the string names are E, A, D, G, B, E. So from the thickest string down, we have E, A, D, G, B, E. You can remember it like Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. That's how you can remember it. Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. Now that's true, and we pluck the A string, that means that that string should be tuned to that note, and that's why we call it an A string, okay? It's because it's tuned to that note. So here's an A. Now, if we said that every note has a sharp, except for B and E, then if we play an A, there's our A. If we go up a half step, remember we said sharp is when we bring a note up, right? So there you go, an A sharp. So here's an A, open note right there. The next fret up is an A sharp. Now we'll just go through the alphabet, A through G, and just remember that all the notes have a sharp except for B and E. Watch this, okay? Here we go, A sharp. After A we have, in the alphabet, right, we have B. After B, does B have a sharp? Nope. So we go straight to C. Does C have a sharp? Yep, every note has a sharp except for B and E. So we have C sharp. A, B, C, D. Does D have a sharp? Yep. A, B, C, D, E. Does E have a sharp? Nope, it doesn't. B and E don't have a sharp. I always remember it, let it be, let it be. And I remember the word B-E. Just those notes don't have sharps. I'm a weirdo, that's how I remember it. So we have E. Does E have a sharp? We said no, right? So straight to F. Does F have a sharp? You better believe it does. F sharp, and we go to G. Does G have a sharp? Yeah, it does. So there's G sharp, and then back to A. So the 12th fret, where we have the 2 dots right there. See that? The 2 dots? That denotes an octave. So here's an A. And here's an A. Now someone may say, well, how can there be 2 A's? Well, listen, they're both A's, but this one is a higher A, and this one's even a higher A, and this one's even higher. And what's happening frequency-wise, which is the resonation of something, everything vibrates. Even the rock outside is vibrating at a certain resonance. Everything vibrates, okay? And you may not be able to notice it, but it's vibrating. Everything vibrates, okay? And when we're talking about frequency, we're talking about the resonance, how many times it's vibrating per second, as according to the Hertz scale, H-E-R-T-Z, okay? If a note is vibrating, let's say this is vibrating at 110 cycles per second, which means 110, it's shaking 110 cycles per second, then one octave up would be 220. An octave up from that would be 440, which is why you always see a 440. And then up from that would be 880. And up from that would be double that. Okay, what would that be? It's a lot. Okay. So you get the idea there, right? So, okay, so let's keep going. Now, in that PDF that I'm giving you, right, that's going to be that's in the course, second link down, 1760. Thanks, MSG Knight. It took me a second for you to come up with the answer. So there you go. So right there, it's going to show you, there's the musical alphabet, A sharp, B. I have the B and the E in red because they don't have a sharp, so that's going to make it nice and easy for you. And then here's the E, A, D, G, B, E, and then the notes as they go across the fretboard. Now, a lot of people say, well, how do I memorize that? No one memorizes it. There's no need to memorize it. If you counted 1 to 1,000, did you count 1 to 1,000 because you memorized all the notes, or you know the protocol? You know that the only thing you memorized was 1 through 9, and then you added a 0 each time, right? We did this little trick when we were a kid. So the same thing, right? Stevie Ray Vaughan, Yngwie Malmsteen, the best guitar players in the world, they don't have the notes memorized per se, no more than you or I would. I mean, actually more so, but basically we're all using the same methods, and some people are better or quicker at it than others, but it only comes from practice, okay? So just understand that if you know that the next number after 999 is 1,000, it's not because you memorized that. Otherwise, you would have to have memorized 1,000 digits in a row. Let me randomly throw 1,000 digits at you and see if you can memorize it. Okay, it would be very difficult. It's not impossible, but it would be very difficult to. Okay, so in the same way here, we're following a protocol, a basic protocol that tells us where the notes are at. And then with the tricks that I show you, like this is what I'm known for, is like these little tricks that help you around the fretboard, right? The springboards, the bolt method, right? The major minor 69er, or the L7, right? As we called it. There's lots of little tricks. That's a popular video right now on my YouTube channel, so check that one out. So nonetheless, that's the way that we're going to memorize the notes on the fretboard. Then the next thing we need to know, and we're getting to our definitions as well in a minute here. Remember that we said a half step is the distance between one fret and the next, and a whole step is 2 half steps, right? Shake your head. Yes. Okay, good. All right, so now that we know that, we can use these as tools to understand all the rest of music. For instance, if I said to you, the major scale, which, by the way, is literally the benchmark or the ruler. If a carpenter has a ruler or a tape measure as his tool for measuring everything, her tool for measuring everything, then in the same way, for the musician, we have the major scale. If you don't know what the major scale is, if you don't know how to construct a major scale out of thin air on the instrument, which is so easy, it's not even funny once I teach you how to do it. It'll take you 3 minutes. Okay, I'll teach you here in just a minute. If you can't do that, then you're not going to understand the basic construction of music. These are, I implore you, these are things that are going to help you understand music, okay? And if you need more of it, you've got the course for you. Okay, so the major scale right here says that if we follow this structure that says whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, then we get the major scale. Well, what does that mean? Well, a half step is the distance between one fret and the next, and a whole step is 2 half steps. So watch this. I don't even have to know the name of the note, although I do, but let's assume that I don't. We can still play a major scale off of any one of these notes. There's 12 notes in the chromatic scale, and then it starts over again, okay? So there's literally only 12 notes that we can play. When we're talking about Western music, blues, rock, jazz, country, heavy metal, like all the music that you listen to, it's only 12 notes, okay? Now, if people aren't playing nice in the chat, I see Eric saying someone's not playing nice in there. If someone's not playing nice in the chat, we get rid of folks real quick, because I don't want any negative ninnies in here, man. There's plenty of places you guys can hang out. We're very positive here, and we don't take it. We'll kick you out real quick, okay? So I'm serious. Be kind. All right, so here you go. Watch this. Let's take F. Okay, this is F, but it doesn't matter what it is. Let's start this one note here, right? If we follow the protocol, look, right? Look, whole step, half step. It's right at the top of the screen there. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. If we follow that, then here you go. Here's the first note. Okay, and let's go. Whole, because it's two frets, right? So we play our first note. We don't say whole until we move, because it's the distance between the two, not the note that we're on. So here we are on a note. We're moving to another note, and that's when we say whole. So here's the first note. We say whole, whole, half, which is 1 fret, right? Whole, 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 half. What? That's the major scale, Eric? Yeah, that's the major scale. In every language, in every key, on every instrument, since the beginning of time to the end of time, amen. It's always that. It's nothing else. It's literally that. All the modes come from here. The pentatonic scales come from here. All the different keys come from here, from that one simple structure, okay? Now, that's not going to all make sense to you right now, but you got to learn this. You got to believe me right now, okay? So someone's saying mind blown. I know, it's literally that easy. Watch, I'll take any note. So here is an A sharp, because we said every note has a sharp except for B and E, so A sharp. And we pluck this note and we say, let's go up a whole step, which is 2 frets, right? So we hit our first note, go up a whole step, go up a whole step, go up a half step, whole, 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 half. You can play scales all over the fretboard. That's the fun thing about the guitar, is that it replicates itself. It's also what can make it confusing, unlike the piano, where middle C is middle C every time. On the guitar, you can hit a high E, 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 E. They're all E's, right? It makes it a little bit confusing at times if you don't understand, okay? Now, with that being said, the major scale is literally the basis of everything that we're going to be talking about today and for the rest of our musical lives, okay? I said here, have you ever heard the exercise do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do? And then the way I teach it is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Those represent each step of the major scale, okay? Make sense? All right, let's keep going. An interval, we said, is the distance between 2 notes. And when we're talking about an interval distance here, I know we're used to time, like a minute and that sort of thing, interval racing and that sort of thing. But in this case here, we're talking about the distance between 2 notes. So if I say the distance between this note and this note, it'd be a half step. If I said the distance between here and here, I could say it's a whole step. It's also known as a major 2. Don't worry about that yet, because we're going to get to intervals later on during this 30 days thing here. If I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that note would be known as the 5, the perfect 5th interval, okay? So just know that. We just need to just broad strokes on this stuff, because we're day by day, right? It's just like if I'm doing these push-ups, my goal is to be doing 70 push-ups in one fell swoop at the end of the month. I'm not up to that yet. And so my job is to focus on how many I can do today, which today I'm due 45. I'm supposed to be doing 45. A few weeks ago, I was only able to do 30. For some of you, you would only be able to do less, and some of you, you'll be able to do a lot more. So that also doesn't matter where you're at on guitar or anything else. What matters is, I mean that compared to other people. What matters is where you're at and you bettering your best every day. That's how you're going to grow. Don't worry about what other people are doing. That's a great way to self-destruct. It's a terrible benchmark, because everybody's different and everybody practices differently, etc., etc. Okay? Okay, so an interval is the distance between 2 notes. Here are a few other definitions that you have to know, okay? A chord is 3 or more notes played together. So if I do this, that's a chord. It's not a very pretty sounding chord, but it's a chord because it's 3 or more notes played at the same time. That's all, okay? An arpeggio is a broken chord or notes played separately from each other. So we could do this finger picking, we could use our pick, we could use it in any way that we wanted to, but nonetheless, it's when we break up a chord up, right? You're used to arpeggios sounding like this, right? Or those are arpeggios. I've got a lesson on that, House of the Rising Sun, by the way. If you want it on YouTube, just search House of the Rising Sun, Your Guitar Sage. Okay, so there you go. That's what an arpeggio is. A major chord is the 1, 3, and 5 from the major scale. Now, I told you that the major scale is the benchmark. It's the measuring tape. It's a tape measure for the carpenter. So once we have that, once we understand this, you've got to know the major scale. Have I said that yet? Because if I haven't, I'm saying it now. You got to know the major scale. If you don't know the major scale, you are seriously leaving one of the easiest things to learn and one of the things that are going to be most powerful to your understanding of music in general. If you leave that behind, then I can't help you, okay? You got to know that. It's in the free course for you today, the second link below, okay? So now here, if I lose you, it's because you don't know the major scale. So a major chord is the 1, 3, and 5 from the major scale, okay? It's the 1, the 3, and the 5 from the major scale, okay? So if I play the major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and I'm playing G major. So if I play, here's the 1, and I skip over the 2, and I play the 3, but Eric, whoa, with the numbers, you're freaking me out. Where's that coming from? It's just coming from the numbers. We're just counting like we're walking upstairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, right? Get it? All right, so here's the 1. We're skipping over the 2. We're playing the 3. Skipping over the 4. We're playing the 5. So we play the 1, the 3, and the 5. Steven, thanks so much. Thanks, bud, for the fun little fox there throwing up the gang symbol and the $2. Thank you so much, Steven. So kind, my friend. So here's the 1, here's the 3, and there's the 5, right? And you might say to yourself, well, heck, that looks like the beginning of a G chord. Well, you're right. Watch. So we're throwing in other 1s and 3s and 5s. So if I do that, where I play this G, or I play this G, or this one, 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 or this one. I mean, they're all G chords. They're just 1s and 3s and 5s from the G major scale. That's why you can use these 1s and 3s and 5s all over the neck to play all of these chords, and it's super easy. That's where the cage system comes in. That's where bar chords come in. Ooh, it's getting hot in here. It's getting hot in here. Okay, so that's what the major chord is, right? A minor chord is the 1, flat 3, 5. What's a flat, Eric? Oh, you're freaking me out. Well, we talked about it. Remember, a flat's when we lower a note. Oh, yeah, okay. I know now, Eric. Okay. So 1, flat, 3, 5, all right? So you take the 1, you take the 3 from the major scale because it is the benchmark, right? It is the thing that we keep going back to when we're talking about the Hendrix chord with the sharp this and the flat that and everything else. We're taking those notes from the major scale, and if we're going to sharp or flatten something, we're sharpening and flattening it from the major scale. But you got to know what the benchmark is first, right? So if someone says, oh, a dominant 7th chord is a 1, 3, 5, flat 7, well then, if you know the major scale, you can assemble that. You could create your scales. You literally, if you understand this, you could create thousands of chords without ever looking in a guitar grimoire, okay, and going, now what was that chord again? You literally can just form everything on the fly. This is how the pros do it. If you want to be a pro, you've got to learn this stuff, and it's not hard, I promise you. If I can get it, you can get it, okay? Ain't a lot going on up here. A lot going on right here, though. A lot. Okay, so the minor chord is the 1, flat, 3, 5, right? So watch this. If I play the G major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, right? Here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, and here's our 5. So 1, 3, 5. Well, if the chord is a 1 minor 3 or 1 flat 3, 5, then we need to take the 3 and we need to flatten it. All right, does that make sense? 1, 3, 5. Does that make sense? And now we have a minor chord. So listen to the difference between the two. This one's kind of sad. This one's kind of happy. Okay? They sound strange right next to each other. But this is why you can see as we go down the rabbit hole with building chords and embellishing chords and doing inversions, which we're going to be doing at noon. So in about a half hour, we're going to be doing this. If you don't understand that, then you're going to get lost, okay? You can always go back and look. That's why I'm giving you the whole course today for free. Second link below, right? And then I have a little exercise for you right here to where you can fill in some notes here, like using this method here, but you can do it on your own, okay? Okay, we're going to get into some questions here because I know you guys have some. We're about 35 minutes in. So I want to get to your questions now, and then at noon o'clock, we're going to be talking about inversions. And again, if you don't understand this stuff, then inversions might be a little bit difficult for you. But beginners can understand inversions. They can. You just have to understand these basics here first, okay? Okay, let's talk about it. Let's get to some questions. How do you get the numbers on the scale? Gary, you're just counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Think like a child. Don't think like an adult. Think like a child. They're much smarter than us in regards to stuff like that. They don't overthink things. So you're just counting up. Think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Just walking upstairs, or 7, 6, or 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Does that make sense? So different notes make up the major scale? Yes. Otherwise, you have a note. So a scale essentially is a set of notes. It's a set of notes, essentially. I mean, there's so many different scales out there. It's basically just a set of notes that have a predefined formula that make up a specific sound. But the major scale is the king, and it is used 99.999% of the time. Okay, the other 500 scales or whatever that are out there, I don't know how many there are, but those are used the other 0.00001%. And when I'm saying major scale, I also mean minor, I also mean the modes, I also mean pentatonic, I also mean blues, because all of that stuff is derived from the major scale in some way, okay? As I show you inside of my courses, inside of the 1,300 free videos I have for you on YouTube, etc., okay? So just understand that. You got to know the major scale. Julia, thank you so much for the donation and the cute little workout guy with the, what's that, a avocado or something? Yeah, workout avocado. Thank you so much. Somebody said, did I have coffee this morning? I had more than coffee. I take several things in the morning. I take some nootropics, bits that keep the brain going, keep you sharp, keep you fresh, and everything. Because I can use every bit of that I can ask for. I also take something called Energy Bomb, which has like maca, has a little bit of caffeine, has something else in it that's very up, and yeah. There you go. Okay. Yes, I did. Okay, Gary is saying, how did you move your fingers 1, 3, and 5 when you taught us the major scale? You moved it on one string. So Gary, look at this. Watch this. When you're talking about the guitar, you have the A string, right, which is the 5th string here, but then you also have an A right here. So just like you could go, or play it in different places on the neck. So what I did is instead of playing like this, the G major scale, I did it on one string. So Gary, I highly suggest you get into the free course because you got to have these basics or you're going to be going so slow. Look, at anybody who's playing guitar and doesn't have these basics down, they're making life hard. So if you like life to be hard, if you're one of those people that are like, I just love for things to go way slower than I want them to, and I love to really just do things the wrong way and mess up and everything else. If that's you, don't get in the course and continue to just hack away and randomly grab YouTube videos without really knowing the structure of music. But if you're not, and you're one of the smart people who wants to get better at it, then go get that free course for you that I'm giving you today. The only other thing I could do is pay you to take it, and I probably won't be doing that anytime soon. Okay, thanks, Amber. So you know which note is next or where you start the scale. Not sure how to answer that question because I don't know what that means. Okay. Where are we looking while practicing? At the fretboard? Indeed, use your eyes. If a blind guy was playing guitar and you weren't looking at the fretboard, he probably would say, what are you doing? Use your eyes that God gave you, and or whoever you believe gave you your eyes, and use them to look at the fretboard. There's nothing wrong with it. All the pros look at the fretboard. There's nothing, like, when I see Stevie Ray Vaughan looking at the fretboard, I'm not like, come on, cheater. You know, no, look at the fretboard. That's totally acceptable. I don't see any romance in not looking at the fretboard. I want you to hit the right notes. All right. Let's talk about the blue note. Okay, let's talk about it. So the blue note is known as the flat 5. Oh, Eric, you're freaking me out with all the music theory knowledge. The flat 5? Whoa, slow down there, buddy. Well, you know this already, because if you know the major scale, you know the flat 5. So, for instance, if we're in the key of A, and in our A major scale, which, by the way, if you know one scale, you know them all, right? Here's A major, here's G major. Here's G sharp major. A sharp, B, C, right? C sharp, C, D sharp, E. Now I don't have to look because it's the same form every time. I could look, there's nothing wrong with it, right? But it's the same form moving up the fretboard every single time. It's just the note that we start on determines the tonic, okay? So if we wanted to find what the flat 5 was, we're talking about the flat 5 from the major scale. So here's our A major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So I find the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I flat it. Okay, right there's the flat 5. So if I take a pentatonic scale, which is the 5-note scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I add the flat 5 in there, okay? Penta means 5, 5-note scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if we add the flat 5 to the pentatonic scale, we get the blues scale. Okay, here we go, with the blue note. Flat 5, also known as the blue note. 1, so listen. There's our flat 5, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, flat it. But if we add that note, right, and if we move that to B, so now we play in A, or we play in B blues, we add that blue note in there, then whoops. Uh-oh, what have I done? Get out of there, don't do that. All right, so here's our blue note right here. Now, a lot of people say, well, that doesn't sound good, right? Well, it doesn't sound good by itself, but it sure adds sauce to it, right? I'm not going to sit down and have a bowl of hot sauce for breakfast, but I might throw a little hot sauce on my tofu scramble. You know what I'm saying? Because that's going to taste good. So, right? So in the same way, it's going to make regular pentatonic sound really good. So here is just the pentatonic, and then I'll add the blue note. So here's pentatonic first. Now I'm going to add the blue note. That blue note is really cool and really adds some extra sauce, some extra spicy bits. You know what I'm saying? Some extra spicy bits. All right, let's keep doing it. We're going to be talking about, for 15 minutes here, we're going to be talking about this beginner stuff, and then we'll get into some advanced stuff. We'll talk about those intervals, okay? Friends, if you haven't already, there's a few things I want you to do. Like the video. If you've done it already, don't do it again. You'll just do away with that first like. Like it if you haven't already. Share it with a friend, please. Donations if you want, bottom left next to the smiley face, you'll see a dollar symbol there. Okay, let's get to some questions. What do you think, what do you try and think of when you put these scales together? Aiden's saying, Aiden, it's not too unlike speaking. I did not wake up this morning planning on everything that I was going to say, but I had a basic idea. I knew for 2 hours I'd be meeting. I knew we'd be talking about guitars, and I knew we'd be talking about the specific subject that I have for you in the PDF, right? I knew that part. But so in the same way, it's like you have a general idea. So for me, I knew that I'm in the key of B minor because I know some basic construction of music, so I knew that the chord progression I was doing was in B minor, so I knew I'd be using some sort of B minor. So I had a general idea, right? And then I knew the kinds of scales. It sounds very bluesy to me, so I chose to use a lot of blues, a lot of minor, that sort of thing. So then what I'm doing is I'm taking phrases. So just like, look at anybody who on this chat who can talk right now, if you can talk without planning everything out, you can improvise on guitar better than me. Honestly, I truly mean that. You can. It's just a matter of you've got to practice it in the same way that you did talking. So when you were a child, you said very simple things, and you weren't worried about being very complicated. But what happens is a lot of times as we get older, we want to go straight to the complicated things. We think, oh, that we're just so whatever, so smart that we can automatically do that. No one in the history of ever has done that in music. The best of the best of the best of the best has never done that. Hendrix, Eddie Van Halen, Django Reinhardt, Mozart, whoever, they've never done that. So you ain't gonna do that either. And I have the utmost belief in your unstoppable, unlimited abilities, but it doesn't happen like that, okay? So don't try to make it happen like that. That's gonna disappoint you and you're gonna drop out of the game. We don't wanna do that. So the way to do this is to learn a small bit. So even though I was playing all over the fretboard, I might just take a real small section of the neck here and just work it, okay? So even though I was going all over the neck, I might go, just take one small section. So I'm just concentrating on one little section of the neck. Now you don't have to play that fast or complicated or anything at first, but what you're doing is you're getting basic phrasing out in one little section of the neck, okay? Just like a child learns the important things to say. I gotta poop, I gotta eat, my tummy hurts, I'm tired, etc. They can go a few years like that just saying those basic bits until they get to law school or whatever, and then they gotta start talking all that other crap. Okay, you get it? They gotta learn the basic stuff first. You wanna think the same way as a guitar player, okay? So, how to get started with that? By the way, thank you so much for the donation. MSG Knight, you're always coming through for me. Thanks, buddy. UGS 365 and these daily streams coupled with your candid approach has helped me immensely. Oh, thank you, bud. Thanks to you and your team. Props to the mods. Click the second link below. Thank you so much for that, bud. Really, truly appreciate it. And even more so, the kind words. That means so much. Thanks for the donation, MSG Knight. So, this is what I want you to do. Whoever asked that question earlier is, on YouTube, if you're not in UGS already, I have a whole section on, what's it called? Minimalistic blues playing. You can do any sort of minimalistic blues, but the idea is to take only a few notes and get really good at that. Because once you learn the basic phrasing in one area of the neck, you'll find that it's all over the neck. And really, we only have, I mean, we're talking blues, we're talking about 6 notes when we add that flat 5. So we're only talking about 6 notes, but you can play them all over the neck. And then what that does is as you get to navigating a different part of the neck, you get a bunch of different licks out of it. So here's what I want you to do. If you're in UGS already, study minimalistic blues. I have a whole course on that in UGS, okay? If you're on YouTube, just search YourGuitarSage minimalistic. Follow that. Follow it to a T. Don't look on anything else because it's going to confuse you. I mean, you could look on other videos, but what I'm saying is don't overthink this, man. It's about being very, 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 very simple. And that's it. If you can just think very simply, you're going to get this. I was going to show you something and I forgot now. Oh, I know what it was. It's this. Watch. If I play this lick right here, right? Same licks. Right, so it's the same licks. The same notes. What? Yeah, so I just played that. How many different places? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different places. It's the same exact notes. So what I'm telling you is if you follow the little tricks, the little shortcuts that I show you, then you're playing the same licks all over the neck, but at first you probably said, well, that's not the same lick. You're playing it in a different place. It's because your ear's telling you that I'm playing different notes, but they're just different octaves. But the different strings, the different sounds of those strings and what have you give it different flavors, okay? If you've had one taco, have you had them all? I mean, one taco tastes like every other taco in the world? No, we know that's not true. There's some people that make crappy... Reconnect. Okay, are we back? We're back? Okay, we're back. We're back. Woo, everybody. Okay, we're back. All right. And look at you champs. Only 70 of you jumped off. Wow, geez. Like, give it a second, right? All right, let's get to some questions here. Okay, sorry about that. I have no idea what's going on there, except that I'm not in my studio and I'm literally working from my iPhone, so could be that. All right, let's get to some questions, right? You guys have some questions about all of this? Let's do it. We got a few minutes. Could you show us that chord progression? Nice loop, Drew saying. Okay, yes. So this is what I'm doing, and this is going to get us into the inversions part of the program. So I have a B minor. Then I'm playing a, which we could call this a D major with an A in the bass. So is that right? D major, yeah. So it's just a D with an A major a D with an A in the bass, which is known as an inversion. So we got a B minor, D, but I'm playing a different form of it here. Then I'm playing a C sharp minor, or a C sharp minor 7, but I'm playing it with a G sharp in the bass, and then I'm playing a G, and then a G flat. So again, B minor. Then for this part, basically what I'm doing is hard to explain here, but basically it's a D chord, using the C formation moved up a whole step, dropping the pinky and playing the A in the bass. So I got a B minor, got a D with an A in the bass. I have a C sharp minor 7. It's okay if you don't know all this stuff. The only way to know it is to study it. So if you don't know it, it's not because you're dumb. You hadn't studied it yet. My Mandarin sucks, by the way, because I don't study it. All right? I also suck at basket weaving because I don't do it. And I suck at riding a unicycle because I don't do it. So if you don't know this stuff, it's not because you're dumb. It's because you haven't done it. Or you haven't done it enough. That's it, okay? So here we go. C sharp minor 7 with a G sharp in the bass. And then a G major. And then a G flat major. So. Make sense? Cool. All right, how are you at Latin? Oh, Scott says, oh, what, poking at me because I almost failed high school and in my senior year didn't get to go on spring break and had to sit at home all during spring break and study Latin so that I could pass the test. Is that what you're referring to, Scott? No, probably not, because you don't know that story. But my Latin is terrible. I barely got by. I barely graduated high school because of Latin. Thank you, Latin. My mom said I would need it. Arpeggio introduction. Ferducci, an arpeggio is super easy. Any chord that you play, just arpeggiate it. Just play it broken notes. That's it. That's all an arpeggio is. Okay? Someone's asking, is the UGS system some sort of graduate program of 365? No, it's completely separate, and you could use them completely separate or you could use them together. Think about this. Think about if you go to the gym and you already know some things, how to work out, know how to do push-ups and what have you. It's like going to the gym and being told, okay, this is what you're going to do today, and they're keeping you fresh all the time so you don't have to think about it. That's what 365 is in a nutshell. What UGS is actually teaching you about the anatomy, teaching you why it is that you're doing, teaching you about nutrition, teaching you about that sort of thing. So it's teaching you all about guitar with the whys, the theory, the techniques, and everything else, whereas 365 is more of a daily workout program for you, okay? Click the link below, the second link below, and you'll see a video all about 365. By the way, all this stuff that I'm talking about, if you want to have a video that shows you all about it, click the second link below. That'll take you to all the courses that I have, including the free one that I have for you today. Far left, top left corner, it says free. Click that one, you get that one for free. And the other ones, I'll have a video that'll describe what it is happening in that course, okay? Okay, great. Eric, how could I put seventh chords into a scale? James, you don't put seventh chords into a scale, you put seventh chords into a chord progression. A scale is a scale, single notes. Chords are more than one note at a time. Do minor chords only sound melancholic to me? Nope, they do. That's just the sound. That's the way they sound. And that's why you write sad songs around minor chords oftentimes. John, if it's out of focus, that's you, my friend, because it's 100% in focus here. That means the way you're downloading it is just, you're doing it the resolution's too low. So you can adjust that, but that's you. What is your favorite instrument besides guitar? Man, I love the drums. I think it's a great instrument. It's so fun to play. If someone had time, like now, for 4 hours in guitar day for improvement, what might be good structure to get the most out of this opportunity? Thoughts? Frank, number one, go through the course that I'm giving you today. That is the structure. Have you done that already, Frank? If you haven't, we don't need to talk about anything else. Honestly, I'm being honest with you. Let me know. Have you gone through that program already? If you haven't, go through that first. Let me know, Frank, and I'll answer it further. I mean, how can I use seventh chords as I'm using a 1-4-5 progression? Well, James, you can use seventh chords for the 1, for the 5, 4, and for the 5. Now, technically in diatonic harmony, a seventh chord, like a dominant seventh chord, is only used on the 5 chord, whereas the 1 and the 4 use major 7 chords. More about that inside the program if you don't know. But when it comes to blues, you can use dominant seventh chords for the 1 and the 4 and the 5, and it sounds great. We do it all the time, okay? Should I learn more songs because I'm constantly feeling stuck? Indeed, learn songs. People want to hear songs. They don't really want to hear scales. That's a tool. A hammer, you can't live in a hammer, but you could build a house that a hammer makes. So same thing. We're learning scales and chords and all that stuff. Very, very important that we have those so that we can build the house, so we can build the songs. But play songs. People want to hear songs, not scales and chords. But you got to know those bits too, right? Some like, how did you know which strings to use? Same, like, but how did you know which strings to use? You'll have to give me some sort of reference on what you mean by that, Rick. Someone's saying, I love the honesty. Yes, I just started the course a few days ago. Many thanks. Okay, Frank, good. Go through that. And then at the end of that course, you have a call to action on basically like, what is your why? Why is it that you're going to play guitar? So if you're a campfire guitar player and you just want to know the classics and be able to strum open chords, use your capo, and play all the classic songs around the campfire, that's going to be one set of things you need to learn. If you're going to be a studio guitar player, it's a whole nother set of things to learn. And I believe near the end of that course is also how to practice, and it's talking about how to practice specifically for you, because that question can't be answered universally for everybody. That's like saying this is what you should eat, or this is how you should work out, or this is how you should do your day. Everybody's different, right? So it needs to be curtailed specifically to what you do. That's why you got to know your why. What kind of guitar do you recommend for your first acoustic or electric, and why? James, whatever you can afford. I went over all this in high detail a couple days ago. So James, if you want actual links to guitars that I recommend, down below you're going to see something that says gear and reviews or something like that. Click on that, or go to kit.com/YourGuitarSage, and I'll show you the acoustic guitars, the electric guitars, the amps, everything else that I would recommend. Cool? All right. You're so welcome. After how many days should I practice songs from the internet? Start playing songs right away. You may get frustrated, but if you haven't gone through the course that I'm telling you, I would suggest going through that course. I suggest everybody going through that course before you attempt songs, because there's some psychology there, there's some like knowing about what it is that you're going to face. But a lot of people will just jump into it right away, and they wonder why they're not getting any further. So do that, okay? Go there. Should I practice, know the scales before attempting to noodle? Yeah, you can do it without it. You can just let your ears tell you what's right and wrong, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the scales will help. I have several videos on YouTube about chord noodling. Watch those first. Friends, if you want to be good at this stuff, you can't be lazy. You got to watch the videos. You have to do what I say in the videos, or find somebody else's videos or instruction to follow. But there's a reason that I put these videos up. It's to teach you this stuff. If you don't follow those videos, you're not going to know what to do. So search YourGuitarSage noodling if you want to know how to noodle. What's noodling? Well, noodling is, by the way, 2 donations just came in. Boom, boom, right back to back for each other. So thank you so much. FM Brown 3. Thanks so much, my friend, and thank you for the thank you so much for that. And Dominic, as always, thank you, my friend. Keep it up. Yeah, I'm gonna. I've been working out a lot lately, and I feel fantastic. So yeah, you got to know where to go on the neck, but I have a whole course inside of UGS on chord noodling. I say that a lot because I do, because there's lots of courses inside of UGS. And then oftentimes I'll put a video out on YouTube that'll cover some basics of it as well. Okay. What are your thoughts on using a computer as an amp? I need a computer and amp, but don't know what to get. So it's not the same, right? So like you might be able to hear your guitar a little bit, and that's cool. For your application that may work, but as for an actual amp, no, they're not very loud. So if you're going to play the music and stuff, unless you have headphones on, they're not very usable. How come I don't have that second link below? You do. I'm looking right at it. I'm looking at it right now. You may have to scroll a little bit more, James, but I'm looking straight at it right now. Description underneath the video, the first one, and then there's one just a little bit down below that. Yeah, for sure. Oh, okay, we're past our 12 o'clock mark, so we need to shift gears into our advanced lesson here, my friends. Okay, let's go over this really quick. We're here for 30 days, right? For good or bad or indifferent, we're here for 30 days. It takes 21 to 30 days to develop a habit. That's why I'm here with you for 30 days, going 2 hours every single day from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. The first hour, 11 to 12, I'm doing a beginner lesson, and from 12 to 1, I'm doing an advanced lesson. The beginner series is I'm following this PDF. Also the advanced series, I'm following this PDF. I'm walking you through the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard, which is free for you today. See the second link below. You should have already downloaded the PDF from the very first link right underneath this video. You should have done that already, so that you have this, which is our syllabus for the 30 days here in April. I'm going to be live with you for 60 days, for 60 hours, okay? There's no excuse. You can have every question answered from me, which I charge $200 an hour for guitar lessons. So I'm sitting in front of you. Use me. I'm telling you, that's what I'm here for. And you've got the course, okay, which would literally, if you were coming to see me and I taught you that one-on-one, it would probably cost you about $1,000, literally just to go over that same information. So take advantage of this stuff, friends. I'm sitting here right in front of you. Take advantage of it. Don't be goofy. You're being goofy if you don't ask me questions. If you don't dig into this stuff, you're usurping your own time. So don't do that. Okay. So you should have downloaded this already. It's link 1 right underneath this video. Link 2. Unstoppable Guitar System. You get into it for free, standard at least. And if you're an advanced player and you really want to get into the nitty gritty, you really want to dig into the 1,000+ videos, 600+ jam tracks, all the live broadcasts that I do for just my UGS folks, where we don't have hundreds of folks in here, but we have just a smattering of folks, and we can really get to their questions. Then get inside. You know, you can do the 30-day. The $1 bit, or you can jump in, get your feet wet, and do the monthly, or jump in and do the lifetime membership. Cool? All right, excellent. Here we go. We're going to do the advanced section now, which we're talking about inversions. Okay? Oh, friends, if you haven't already liked it, please like this video. If you have already liked it, don't do it again. but do share it. So if you've liked it, but you didn't share it, then please share it as well. Okay, good. For donations, I see people asking about that. Bottom left-hand corner next to the smiley face, there's a little dollar symbol. You click on that, that'll allow you to donate. Cool, awesome, great, let's go. Okay, here we go, inversions. So we said earlier that and let me scooch this down, just a pinchy pinch here. Probably need less of my hair and more of the guitar, okay? Here we go. Okay, so a chord we said is 3 or more notes played at the same time. This right here is a chord. So is this. So is this. So is this. Okay, major, minor, weird, all the strings open. If you're playing 3 or more notes at a time, you're playing a chord, okay? An inversion, some people call them slash chords, and that wouldn't be quite as accurate, all right? But an inversion is when we do this. It's when we play the chord, when we play a chord, any chord, and we have something other than the letter name or the root of the chord in the bass. Let me say that again. Chord is 3 or more notes played at the same time. An inversion is when we take a note other than the bass note, or I should say the root note, when we take something other than the root note or the letter name of the chord, same thing, and we put something else in the bass, meaning the lowest note, okay? You've probably done this before. A slash chord can be an inversion, but a slash chord can also be not an inversion, because a technical inversion is when we're taking a note that's normally in the chord and putting it in the bass, and it's not normally in the bass. A slash chord would be, it could be an inversion, but could also be some other note from some other place that doesn't even belong in the chord. I'll talk about that in detail here, okay? So watch this. So if we took a C major chord, right? A C major chord is a C, E, and G. It's the 1, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, 5 from the C major scale, right? I told you, we got to know your major scale because this is the benchmark of everything, right? So if we have that 1, 3, 5, well, it's a C major chord because we're basing this 1, 3, 5 off of C major. So the bass note, C, if we're gonna benchmark the chord, if we need those notes from the C major scale, then C is our tonic, it's our root, I should say. It's our root of the chord. And we usually put a C in the bass. So if we're playing in a band and I play a C chord, 9 times out of 10 the bass player is going to play a C. But he could play other notes within that chord as well. Could play an E, could play a G, could play other notes. But if it was going to be an inversion, it would have to be an E or a G. So for instance, watch this. Here's a C with a C chord, or a C with a C in the bass. There's our C, and then the rest of the chord. Now we could also play a C with a G in the bass. Now watch this. I'm going to put this finger up to the G, and I'm going to put my pinky on the C. Now we have a C slash G. This is what we call a slash chord. So when we have a C slash G, the C part of the chord is the chord, and then the slash G is the bass note. So think of it like a fraction. Think about a C over a G. The G's on the bottom, so the G is the bass note, and the one on the top is the chord, okay? So this is a C slash G. So it still sounds like a C chord, but we're putting the G in the bass. Can you hear the difference? Here's C with a C in the bass. Here's C with a G in the bass. We said that a C chord has a C, E, G. So we could also put an E in the bass. So here's our C chord. Here's an E in the bass. Well, that's not going to sound good, Eric. Oh, yeah, well, listen. Anthony, thanks so much for the definition, my friend. Thanks so much for the donation. Love it. Thanks for being you. Thank you, buddy. Very much appreciated. So kind. So here's our C chord with a C in the bass. Here's a C chord with a G in the bass. Here's a C chord with an E in the bass. Right? Now, we also could put something else in the bass, like a B. The Beatles have done this, right? Right? Or actually they did... I read the news today, oh boy. My favorite song possibly of all times, next to Yellow Brick Road by Elton John. Those two songs slay me, kill me, make me cry every single time. Okay, so there you go. Not really, they don't make me cry. They make me cry inside. If I had feelings, I would cry outside too. But okay, so C, right? C with a G in the bass, C with an E in the bass. But we could also have a C chord with a B in the bass, right? This would be just the slash chord, but technically wouldn't be an inversion because a C major chord has a C, E, G in it. There's no B. So technically, for it to be an inversion, we need to invert the chord, meaning put some other note that's in the chord in the bass. And since the B is not in a C major chord, it can't be an inversion. It's just a slash chord. So here we go. Here's a C chord. Now if I take this C and I bring it down to the B, but still play the rest of the chord as a C, that's a C/B. And you may say that, well, that doesn't sound good, but it sounds good in context because it creates tension. And music's all about tension and release. If it was all tension, it would be terrible. And if it was all release, if it was all just elementary sounding stuff, then that's like kid music and it doesn't really do much, okay? It doesn't move you that much. It does as a kid because your palate, your musical palate, your ears not tuned to hearing complicated things, right? So, but if we use this in context here, A Day in the Life, yeah, that's the name of the song. Thank you so much for that, my friend. Yeah, Day in the Life, I love that one. Love it, it's killing me. Okay, okay, great. Okay, so let's look at some other ones. Let's take a D. Another so let me show you the most common inversions that you're going to use too. Can I do that? Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it because I don't think I do that later on in the month. Let's talk about it right now. Don't be concerned with all the inversions because there's so many inversions, it's not even funny. But the ones that you're going to use the most, I'm going to show you today. And you're going to use these 99% of the time on the guitar. If you know these, you're set, okay, for the most part. Okay, so the inversions are a D with an F sharp in the bass. I play it with my thumb over the top of the neck. If you're new to guitar, I would not advise doing this unless you want to be frustrated. But just understand you're probably not going to be able to do it at first, okay? But if you've been playing for a while, then you've got it. A D chord is a D, A, F sharp. In this case, here's a D, A, D, F sharp. So if we inverted it, we could put a D with an A in the bass, and that would be an inversion. So here's a regular D, a D with a D in the bass. Here's a D with an A in the bass. Here's a D with an F sharp in the bass. Cool? Now earlier when I was playing my chord progression, that's a D with an A in the bass, right? And then I played this. So these are all inversions. So that's a good one to use. D with F sharp in the bass. When would you use that, Eric? I'm so glad you asked. Check it out. Watch. If I go from a G to an E minor, I go G. And then I could go like G to a D to an E minor, and that would sound good. But it would sound even better if the bass line was walking down. Bum, bum, bum. So like... Yeah, exactly, JF. Just like My Guitar Gently Weeps. Oh, sorry, no, I'm thinking of, but you're right. Yeah, it is in there. My Guitar Gently Weeps. It is in there somewhere, yeah. I don't have it in my brain right now, but yes, it is in there. So a D slash F sharp is a very common one. Another really common one is a G slash B. So here's a G chord. And then, so a G chord is a G, B, D. And so oftentimes people will use a G slash B, which is when they lift that second finger up and the B becomes the bass note. So you would use that in this sort of situation. Another way you could do it is play like an E minor 7 with a B in the bass, like this. Or there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? Right, so we got those walk-ups. You could also do it in the key of G, which is that F sharp for a split second. But you're not playing the whole chord, you're just kind of walking that bass note down, but the rest of the chord is assumed, right? Okay, get it? Okay, that's inversions. Those are the ones that you're going to use the most, those three. All right? Okay, let's get into it. Let's get to some questions. Jackson S. is saying, I wish I could play that song. Well, good news, Jackson. I have a video for that. And thank you so much for the kind words today, too, by the way, on Instagram. I have a song, I have a tutorial for that. Just search YourGuitarSage Hallelujah, and I'll show you exactly how to do that, okay? So experiment with inversions, okay? There is no right or wrong. This is music. It's art. So these are different paints that you can use. Don't be afraid of using different paints. If you were a child, you ain't thinking about, can I use this paint or not? Be a child. The more you can be like a child when it comes to, you know, people make fun of kids all the time. You acting like a kid. I wish people acted more like kids, right? Not the, you know what I mean. They think pure. Be thinking about this way when it comes to music. A kid, if I go to my kid and I'm like, let's paint, he's gonna get all the paints out, all right? And he's gonna be going off on the paint. He's not like, well, I wonder if purple works with brown. He's gonna make it work. So I want you to think in that same way, okay? Try these different inversions, play them and see what your ear tells you, because man, they're cool. And the more that you start playing with paints like a kid, or inversions or scales, notes, everything else, the better you're gonna be as a musician. You're not gonna be trapped. Think about any musician who you love, Elton John, Jimi Hendrix, whatever, whoever, go down the list. Were they like, no, we can't do that. That note won't work right. No, they were so free. They were flamboyant in what they were doing, right? Some more than others. They were very just like free in whatever it was that they were doing. And that's why they created such beautiful art, such beautiful music. Does that make sense? Okay. Baby, I'm Gonna Leave You is great practice for inversions, indeed. Someone's asking about first and second inversions. So, you know, when you're talking about like a 1-3-5 chord, 1-3-5, you know, if you're just playing it from the bass note, 1-3-5, then that's just a regular chord, no inversion. But if you're doing it from the 3, that's going, I believe that's what they call the first inversion. I don't think about it in first or second inversion. So I guess it depends on whose rules we're talking about, but that would be my guess. Since we're talking about triads, which are 3-note chords, then that would be the first version, and the second version would be off the 5th of the scale. Okay. For inversions, does the bass note come from the major scale, or can it be any of them that sounds good or makes sense? Julia, great question. So technically, when we're talking about an inversion, it has to come from the chord itself. So a triad has 3 notes in it, so it can't be the root, because that would be just regular chords. So it has to be the 3 or the 5. Or if it's a 7th chord, it could be, you know, the 7 or a 9th chord, etc., etc. But usually we're talking about triads or even 7th chords when we're talking about inversions. Typically not putting a 13 in the bass, you know? Does that make sense? So, yeah. Did I answer that right? But and as far as the bass note, where it should come probably someplace from the key that you're in. So it would come from the major scale, okay, and that's okay too. But I guess, you know, we have an inversion. An inversion can be a slash chord. An inversion is always a slash chord because we're talking about a chord, and then it's determining what the bass note is. So for instance, watch this. So if we, where's my eraser? Well, we'll just use this. Okay, so if I were to have a C chord, it would look like this, right? C. And if we had a C that had a G in the bass, then it would look like this. So this is the chord. You can take a snapshot of this if you want. So there's the chord and there's the bass note. So it's a C chord at the top, but put the G at the bottom. It's the bass note, okay? It's the lowest note. It's not the root, because the root is the math that we determine the rest of the chord on. So if it's a C, then we need to, and it's a 1, 3, 5 chord, we need to take the 1, the 3, and the 5 from the C major scale. We're still calling that the root, but the bass note is the lowest note. Does that make sense? So, but if you had a C chord has a C, E, G in it, right? Has a C, E, G. So the C, G, or the C, E, or just the C chord would all be technically C chords. They're all C chords, but these guys are inversions because you took the G out of the chord and you took the E out of the chord, you put that in the bass. But if you did this, if you did, say, like a C/B, do you see a B anywhere in that chord? Nope. No, you don't. So that would be not an inversion, but a slash chord. Okay, does that make sense? A, I think you got that. Are some 4-note jazz chords inversions, or are they just 4-note jazz chords? Well, yeah, sure, there can be inversions in jazz, indeed. Everything comes from the major scale. Yes, everything comes from the major scale. Right, no, we're not referring to the guitar player Slash. Thank you, Slash, for making this lesson that much more difficult. How do I get better at finger picking? It's hard. It's only hard because you don't know how to do it. If I started to take Mandarin today, I would find that it's hard. Or if I tried to walk on a tightrope wire today, it would be hard because it's a new thing. Every new thing is hard, friends. Okay? Every new thing is hard. Get over it. It's okay. How do you get good at it is you practice it. But it's hard. Well, do you want to do it or don't you want to do it? If you don't want to do it, look, if you stopped at anything at it's hard, then when you were a baby, you wouldn't have got up and walked the first time. There's plenty of people who don't walk in this world. So if you said, well, it's hard, and there's people that don't walk, so I probably should stop, well, then you wouldn't be walking right now. So get over it being hard. And how did you get good at walking when you were a kid? You got up and you fell, and 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 you got up and you fell, until you finally got it, okay? You got to do this with guitar. You got to do this with anything that you're going into, okay? If you don't, you're not going to get it. You got to practice it. As far as getting good at finger picking, if you need help with that, now there is a structure to it. You got to know that. On YouTube, search YourGuitarSage finger picking. I have tons of videos for that. Watch the first one, though, that teaches you like basic finger picking or the fundamentals of it. I also have stuff inside of UGS. Okay, how many times in a week do we need to practice? Lorik, as many times as possible. If you want to be good. If you're fine with sucking, then don't practice that much. Okay? If you play a C/B, isn't that a C major? No. the 7th because B is the major 7th. Jim, you wouldn't be playing a C major, you'd be playing a C major 7 chord. Okay, a C major or a C chord is a C, E, G. A C major 7 chord is a C, E, G, B because it has the major 7 in it. It's called a major 7 chord because of the major 7, not because it's a major chord. That seems a little bit confusing, but I unravel that mystery very easily inside the course when I'm talking about chordal theory, okay? That's in the intermediate and advanced sections. Light bulb moment, woohoo, love it, yay. Okay, so for an inverted, you take the 4th and 5th and the E and play one of those before the A as the root, or am I missing the point? Amber, I don't know at all what it is that you just said. So yeah, don't know what you said there. I'm sure you're getting part of it, but no, there's no the 4th and the 5th there. Don't know what you're talking about there. So Amber, take advantage of the free course today, because once you go through that, all the basics are going to make sense, and all this stuff will unravel for you. That's why I provide that stuff for free for you. So we're just talking about 1s and 3s and 5s right now. Jason said, I've learned there's no shortcuts in this journey. It's down to dedication and hard work. 100% true. If you're not willing to do that, you probably shouldn't start it. Play the radio, play the TV, do the stuff that the lemmings do. It wouldn't be for you. But I don't think that's anybody in here. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't be sticking around after an hour and a half. I'm not that exciting. It's that you want to get better at guitar. So, and you know that it takes dedication. You know that it takes practice. That's why you're here. That's why the Unstoppable Guitar System folks that are in there, that's why they're so dedicated. That's why they're getting so good, is they know it's chipping away every single day, chipping away, chipping away. It's the only way to do it. There is no other way to do it. It's not like you just go down to the crossroads and sell your soul or some other goofy myth. It just, I mean, honestly, if you listen to Robert Johnson, if he sold his soul for the licks that he played, I'd be asking for my money back. No offense at Robert Johnson. He obviously is classic, right? But it wasn't like he was playing like Stevie Ray Vaughan. If somebody said Stevie Ray Vaughan sold his soul, I'd say, well, okay, that might have been a good deal. Not really, I'm joking. But Robert Johnson didn't sell his soul for playing like 7 blues licks. Okay, he didn't. Just trust me, he didn't. He was amazing for the time and what he did and everything else, but there are kids who are 7-year-olds that are playing better than Robert Johnson. Sorry, I'm probably the only guy that's going to say stuff like that, but it's true. There are people who are playing better than Robert Johnson at a much younger age these days. Poor Robert didn't have the internet. He didn't have lessons. He didn't have anything like that. He just like freaking listened and did his thing, you know, and he was amazing for that. And for what he did it the best, okay? But just understand that there is no shortcut. It's all about practice, okay? To a new guitar player, this is tough, but it makes sense. I promise you just got to keep at it. Liam, you're 100% right. The root note doesn't change, just the bass note, correct? Correct, Craig. We're talking about a C major chord. We're talking about the chord that's built off of the C. So there's math, you know what I mean? It's like a math equation. And if X is the root note, then that determines the rest of the equation, right? So if it's a C chord with a C, E, G, then C is the root, but the bass note could be an E or a G if you wanted it to be an inversion. So you got that correct. My knees hurt. Thank you, buddy. That's super kind. When you say the free course, that's the first 30 lessons one, correct? Yes, that is correct. Authentically MG. Yes. Over and over is my middle name. I love that. That's also why your last name is Power, because you understand the power in doing things over and over and over again. It's the only way that's ever existed since the beginning of time to get good at something. You understand that, right? Repetition is the only way to get good at something. If you know another way, then let me know. But from my understanding, if you do something 0 times, you suck at it. If you do it once, you're 1 time better than sucking. If you do it 1,000,000 times, then you're going to be pretty good at it. Okay, you do it 2 million times, you're going to be even better than the guy that did it 1 million times. It's just real basic math. Even I got that math down, okay? Yes, Frank, I'll repeat all that by you hitting the rewind button. Everything is hard before it's easy, okay? Now you guys are getting it. Brian, thank you. Everything's hard before it's easy. Eric, Eric, what made you decide to be so generous with your time this month, and always for that matter? JF, thank you so much. Honestly, JF, I see, you know, there's obviously this thing going on, but and everybody's in a different place about it, so I'm not going to give my narrative on it. There's just no need to. I'm not an expert, so I don't know. I have my own opinions on what's going on, but that being said, just like Tony Robbins or some other people, if you watch their feeds, they're not talking about this stuff, and neither am I. I'm not talking about it because there's a bazillion other things that we should be focusing on. We know what to do, so just do that, and in the meanwhile, don't worry about it. I'll say it again. Someone said, did you talk about the bear yet? Nope, here I go. So if a bear is chasing you, you can run up the tree and not fear the bear, right? Just get away from the bear. It's going to eat you. Get up the tree. You don't have to, you know, get a bunch of cortisol going and take days off of your life, give yourself a heart attack. Just get away from the bear. Right? In the same way, you can, or the other way you could do it is just sit there and fear the bear for the rest of your life. You might even be so crippled by fear that you stop in your tracks and then the bear eats you. Not a good idea. Or you can not fear the bear and just run up the tree. And that's what we're doing here. Is my hope is that, you know, what I said was as soon as I heard, I think it was on the 28th or something, that you know, the White House said, hey, we're doing this thing for 30 days. It's going to get weird. And I said, all right, let's get weird together. I love getting weird. Let's get weird. So for 30 days of the month of April, let's do it. And 30, 30, 30 just kept popping in my mind, and the 30 free lessons and the getting UGS for 30 days. And I'm going to be sitting at home for 30 days. I might as well help you, walk you guys through all of this. So that would be fun to do. So that's what made me think about all that. So it's just like, let's do it together. Let's have fun. And I love the positivity. I mean, when I do these broadcasts, I'm like pumped for the rest of the day. So I do it as much for me as I do it for you guys. I love doing it. So that's why. Yeah, birds of a feather. Do you have a few song suggestions that use this concept? Natalie, not off the top of my head, but there are tons of them that do. What I would suggest people to do is if you're on YouTube, search Your Guitar Sage Elvis or Your Guitar Sage Beatles or Your Guitar Sage whoever it is that you like, Willie Nelson or whatever. And then the songs that I teach, inevitably there's going to be an inversion in there somewhere eventually. So just follow those, you're going to come across them. But I don't know what you like, so that's a great way to do it. You know what I mean? Okay. Okay, look at this. Yeah, not sure it was a good idea to start learning the guitar at the age of 31, not even with quarantine. Edward, the only people that ask, is it too late for me to play guitar, are people in their 20s and 30s. I never see this for my 70s, 80s, and 90-year-old people. I never see it. It's only those that are in their 20s and 30s. So Edward, get that damn idea out of your head. It's just not even true. Start now. Look, you could be better than me in like a year or two if you practiced. Right? I'm busy making lessons. Not that this is a race, but you want to get good at guitar, put your head down and get good at it. It doesn't matter what age you are. It honestly doesn't. Love you. I love you too, Feng Bio. Is it better to play with your nails or without nails? If you're playing on a steel string guitar, you may want to choose to use finger picks or just your fingertips, okay? If you're using a nylon string guitar, or like I still use my fingertips, my fingernails with steel string guitars, but it'll tear your nails up a little bit if you're not constantly filing them down, okay? But it's a matter of personal preference, so definitely try it both ways, you know? I have lessons for that, though. All right, cool. Rick, does the $1 give you access to the whole course for 30 days? Rick, it does. It gives you access to over 1,000 lessons 1,000 posts, I should say, 1,000 lessons and posts, over 600 jam tracks, live broadcasts from me that are only for my UGS folks. But here's the deal: get out in 30 days if you don't want to be part of it. If you're like, this is too much for me, I'm learning too much, I'm becoming the guitar player that I want to be, and dear God, I'm scared, I'm going to get out. You can do that. Or continue on, do the monthly, do the lifetime, whatever you want to do, but you definitely can get out within 30 days, and that's all you pay is $1, okay? But you got to let us know. Thank you, BL, super kind, friend. I don't get that WWH. James, second link below. You got to watch the video. You got to understand it, because this is absolutely so important that you understand this, James. It is the #1 thing that you can know about music. If you don't know it, you're not going to get very far in understanding music, okay? You've got to know it. So if you're serious about it, take advantage of the free course, the second link below, UGS Standard. I'll walk you through it in a more detailed lesson than what I did earlier, the first hour. I did talk about it the first hour though, okay? Tammy, thanks for the donation. Super kind, and I love that. Wah! Goals. Love it. Thank you. So kind. Bears climb trees. Black bears do. Black bears do, but if you climb up a grizzly bear does not climb up a tree. A polar bear does not climb up a tree. Black bears can, but you can kick them in the snout before they bite you. You know what I mean? It's not like they got you on top of. You're on top of them. Climb the tree, Al. What's your solution? Climb the tree. If it's a small tree, you're fine. They can't climb small trees. Heck, Edward, I started just a few months at age 63. Means I can now play with that crotchety old man anger. Yeah. Uh-oh. D-Octo is saying, do not climb a tree to evade a bear. It says it in all caps, as if D-Octo, are you a bear expert or a climbing trees expert? Well, not really. This is a metaphor, right? You know that, right? Don't love the bear. Don't fear him. Yeah, I'm with you, man. And I'm messing with you, D-Octo. I'm just messing with you. He's got the weird down. I do. Definitely. Be the bear, right? I love that expression. The devil told the warrior, you can't withstand the storm. The warrior replied, I am the storm, right? I am the storm. There's nothing better than when I say, man, I suck at this. Then after hours of practice, I suddenly realize, wow, I got this. And I told you my story. I used to do this all the time. I would say, man, there's no way I can learn this, but I'm just so obsessed with it. I got to learn it. And then eventually I would get it. And then I realized, oh, wow, anything that I want to do on the guitar, it's just a matter of practice, first understanding and then the practice, right? So, yeah. So, and that's the same for you. I'm not special. I mean, I am special, and you're special, and we're all special. So if we're all special, at the same time, we're not special. We're special, but you get what I'm saying. We're also not special. That we're also all similar, okay? What is a Chapman stick? Well, for, a Chapman stick, it'd be a good thing to Google. Just watch a YouTube video on it. But a Chapman stick is like a guitar, but you use your fingers, and there's many, many strings on it. What a great crew in here today, man. Jeez. Larry just got done cutting the grass. What did you lazy people do today? We've been in here learning how to play guitar. Larry, where you been, bro? Broseph. Rick, thank you, brother. Thank you. I love you too, man. Thank you very, very much. And Rick, did you ever answer that question? Are you related to the gal that I mentioned to you here that lives here, Sarah, here in Franklin, Tennessee? Let me know. All right, where do I pay this dollar? Already in the email sub. Edward, second link below will get you to everything. Free course, paid course, everything else. That's where to go, my friend. ebook bundle. What's extra as compared to the free ebook? It's ebook 2 and it's the blues ebook. Okay, that's what I call an ebook 2 and the blues ebook, but it's Ultimate Guide Part 2, and you can find all that information out on my website. It's not all recited in my head right now, so you're gonna have to go there and check that out. When do you learn the notes of a chord? I suppose when you're learning the chord if you want, but at first you don't need to do that. At first just learn the chords and understand how they work together. You don't necessarily have to know all the notes in the chord. I learned it through osmosis, just over time, you know? You just learn it. I'm a big fan of this. Don't learn something until you need to. There's no glory in going out and learning a language that you're never gonna use. That doesn't make you smart. It kind of makes you not very smart, because you could have been using that time for doing something more constructive. I don't know about you, but every night when I go to sleep, I have a list this long of things that I wanted to do that I didn't do. I'm not disappointed, it's just that there's only so much time in the day. So I'm a big fan of learning stuff when it is that you're going to use it, which is exactly how I teach you step by step inside the program. If you do that, then you're gonna understand everything step by step as you're going along, and there's no need to learn stuff that you're never going to use. Also, answering your why. Why are you learning jazz modes if you don't like jazz? Well, why learn the modes if you're not going to use modes? Because you're probably not going to use them very much. Why are you learning to sight read if you're not in an orchestra pit, or if you're not a classical guitar player? You're not going to be reading music that much. There's so many other ways to do it. Not to say there's anything wrong with it. I know how to read music, not very well because I don't do it very often, and that is a perfect point. It's like if I sat down and learned a bunch of how to read music and become really, really good at it, if I'm not using it every day, I'm going to lose that skill, because it's not like riding a bike, okay? Gordon's asking, did I miss the lesson? Gordon, we've been here for an hour and 45 minutes, but you can watch this again later on. And I'm here every single day with you for 2 hours for the month of April. Yes. Yeah. Could you show us your Kemper and foot switches? I am on the fence on getting one. Drew. Man, I tell you, Drew, don't listen to me on it. Number one, I don't have the camera set up to do this right now. This thing is sitting precariously with a bunch of lights and stuff on it. It's on a stand. There's no way I could move it right now without wrecking the whole joint. But I tell you who to follow is follow my buddy HW. I call him my buddy. He's not my buddy yet, but I love the guy. HW. Follow him on Tone Junkie. He is on YouTube, and he has some great patches and everything else. I actually just messaged him today because I'd like to get him on the program to talk about tone and what have you. He's great at tone and has an amazing ear. But follow his stuff, Tone Junkie, one word. He'll convince you. Does a major 7 chord mean the 7th is augmented? No. Not the way you think. So a major 7 chord is this. It's a major chord with a major 7 in it. Okay, so it's really easy. You take any major chord. If it's C major, remember you use the same bass note to compare the chord as you do to use the same scale as used to compare the chords. So if it's C major chord and you want it to be C major 7, you just play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you throw that note into the chord, and then it becomes a C major 7. That's another way to play it. You could also play it many different ways to play that chord, right? And all chords, that is. Any chords to practice other than the 1-4-5 for blues, to incorporate or play around blues, is my why. Marco, yeah, you could try the same chord progression in a minor key, so a minor 1, a minor 4, and a minor 5. Or you could look at it, you could look at the chords differently the way that I teach it, but nonetheless, you could make those chords minor. You could make them minor 7th chords. You could incorporate other chords in there. So try that. Try playing the same chord progression with minor, and it's great. Or what I did just now, right? This chord progression is bluesy, right? Doesn't it sound bluesy to you? pretty bluesy, and I'm not using the 1-4-5 there at all. Do you recommend learning the interval names or notes? At first, don't worry about that at all. I would suggest like learning the intervals because that is super easy. You're using the major scale, okay? And I teach that inside, I'm pretty sure I teach that inside the course that I'm giving you guys today. Learn the intervals. You'll never forget them again because they're based off of the major scale, and once you know it, you know it. It's super easy. Jason's been almost played 7 hours today. I forgot what I learned this morning already. 7 hours. It's amazing. Are there videos with the dollar sub? I'm a visual learner. Edward, there's like 1,000 something videos for the buck. Yeah, lots. 600 jam tracks, live broadcasts. It's all video. Yeah. I'm a visual learner too, friend. Yeah. I still suck at strumming patterns, but can't strum 3-4 versus 4-4 and practicing patterns. Muscle memory. Follow those strumming exercises that I give you inside the free course today. Right? It's like 5 levels of strumming. Follow those. You won't mess up, but you do have to do it slow at first. Everybody does. Okay. Can you play chords a third off the lead rhythm chords and sound good? Can you play chords a third off the lead rhythm chords and sound good? Barry, again, this is where knowing the language will get lost, right? So I'm not sure what you mean by that, but can you play the chords a third off? If you're saying like, if your buddy's playing a 1-3-5, can you play a 3-5-7? Is that what you're saying? If so, yeah, you can, but you're introducing another note in there, which is going to change the flavor a little bit. But yes, you can do that. You can play inversions of it, which probably might be what you're talking about there. You can play inversions, and I highly recommend that because it's playing the same 1s and 3s and 5s, but in different places of the register. Like for instance, if I'm playing the C chord, right? And then I could play this C chord, or this one, or this one, this one, this one, this one. Those are all C chords, and so they all complement each other really well. Make sense? Ah, you're welcome. Yeah, yep. Tone Junkie is great for Kemper stuff. Rhett Scholl has some great tones. Yeah, he's got some beautiful tones. Great player too. Eric, were you using a looper when you were doing the sample blues in the first hour? I was. I definitely was using a looper. Hi, is this the same course as the one on Udemy? It's the same guy teaching it, but no, it's not the same course. The one on Udemy is only a few hundred videos, where this is 1,000 plus videos and courses. You're also getting 365 and a bunch of other stuff with it. So no, it's not the same. It's great if you're on a major budget. That Udemy course is great. What does the bebop scale do? The bebop scale is what does the bebop scale do? It's just a scale. It's just like anything else. It's a scale. So like it doesn't do anything. It just sits there, just like the pentatonic or blues or whatever used in bebop, a style of blues, and you make bebop scale do something. Just same thing with pentatonic or anything else. It doesn't do anything. It's just there for you. It's a tool. It's a hammer in your box. Okay. All right. Great questions. Royanfield, thank you so much for the donation, my friend. Truly appreciate it. When should you change your strings? If they don't sound good, they don't feel good for you, change them. Otherwise, you don't need to change them. What does YourGuitarSage think? Learn the C major scale across the whole fretboard. I'm not sure what the question was. I'll have to look. Do you like the power of exaggeration to learn hard parts or get through snags in our techniques? The power of exaggeration. Probably so, Frank. I'm not sure what that is. I'd have to know the definition of it, but I use extremes all the time when I'm talking about things to get people to understand things. So psychologically, yes, I love exaggeration. I love extremes because you can understand something very quickly and get on the same page with somebody. So I do that. Can you download the loops? No, this is the loop that's in my pedal. So these you can't download this. No. The jam tracks, if that's what you're talking about, inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System, we can't download them, but they're available to you anytime you want, 600-ish of them. So I can't pick up the Kemper in front of the camera. It won't work right now. No. Can't do it, sorry. What scale should I master after the pentatonic? You should know the pentatonic, you should know the major scale. Those are the ones you've got to know. Can you quickly demonstrate a sweep, please? So a sweep is just when you're taking typically a scale, that sort of thing. You've heard this in Comfortably Numb. That's a sweep. You're hearing several notes at once, right? I teach this inside the program. It's a nice little major arpeggio, if you will. So sweeps, yeah. Someone's asking, can I show you how to play the F sharp minor? Yeah, I will real quickly, but you know, I have videos for this on bar chords, so just search YourGuitarSage bar chords. But here's an F sharp minor bar chord. Okay. Friends, if you haven't already, like this video please, and also if you liked it already, don't like it again, but please like this video and also share it with a friend if you would. Thank you. I haven't used the Spark amp because I have the Kemper and I literally have more tone than I would ever know what to do with. Yeah. What's a good looper? What's a good practice looper for an intermediate player to buy? The TC Electronic Ditto, but I got lots of them in my store. Search Gear Reviews link that's below this video. But the Ditto is a great one. I love it. Okay, is there a better way to add harmonics during playing? I only feel comfortable if the harmonics are on the 12th fret. Otherwise, it's hard to calculate while playing. Dominic, so the 5th, the 7th, and the 12th fret, but it also, you know, should be harmonic with what it is that you're playing. Does that make sense? So it should fit into the scale. Lots of theory that we'd have to talk about regarding that. That would not be an easy one to answer here. If I took 15 minutes, I would not be able to explain it correctly because it takes more information than that. I apologize. I wish I could answer that one quickly, but that's not an easy one to answer. Why is B flat the hardest key to play? That's subjective, but you know, B flat has lots of flats, lots of sharps, however you want to look at it. So the way to fix that is just put the capo at the 1st fret, and now you're playing in A. That's how you want to think about that. I talk about that in high detail inside the you know, how to use a capo course. Okay. Or not how to use a capo course, but in the lessons that I have in UGS on how to use a capo. Cool? You mentioned having a Boss Katana. What do you think of it? I'm very, very spoiled. So I have lots of great equipment. So I don't think much of it. But for it being a newbie amp and having lots of little things on it and being very easy to use and being a decent sound crappy amp, I think it's okay. How's that for a ringing endorsement? No, really, I do. I think for the price of it, it's completely mediocre. So I love it. You know what I'm saying? No, but seriously, you know, for as cheap as it is, it's a beautiful piece of crap. So you know, however you want to look at it, I joke. It's a wonderful amp as a beginner amp. Okay, but it's not a Kemper. It's not a Marshall Plexi. It is a Boss Katana. They're made to pump out and get into the hands of newbies. I bought one as a review. It's decent. Actually, I'm tearing it down, but it's really a decent amp to start off with. You're not gonna be able to play a band with it. It's not loud enough. But Brett Papa Stash used this when I was in. I let him and RJ take over my studio a few months back when I was at like a Tony Robbins seminar or something. They took over and Papa was running through the Katana, and he was just running through using one of my pedals or something and his guitar, and I said, dude, what are you using? Because that sounds great. I knew that RJ was using my Blues Junior. Papa was running through the Katana, and it sounded really good. So, you know, it's a great amp for the money. Probably one of the best amps for the money, which is like maybe $200. So, yeah, decent. Are your Kemper amps good for acoustic electric as well? They're good for anything. Yeah, they're fantastic. I really want to start playing, but I'm really into soulful deep guitar like Gary Moore. How would I find a guitar that suits me? Keat, if you're saying I really want to start playing, how would I find a soulful deep guitar like Gary Moore? Don't worry about that. Your best thing would be to not worry about Gary Moore yet. Your best thing to do would be to get any cheap ass guitar, get in the free course that I'm giving to you today, and do the work. That's how to honor the small bits that are before you right now. Don't worry about Gary Moore. I understand that that's your muse. Not taking that away. Gary Moore's a freak of nature. He's so good. Loved him. Okay? Still love him. But don't worry about that right now. That's gonna throw you off your game. Right now, just focus on getting the basics done, right? I'd be like my little boy out there saying, Dad, I want to have whatever. I don't know. I want to have the equipment that all the guitars that you have. What expensive guitar should I get? And I'm like, you don't need an expensive guitar. You need a beater, and you need to prove yourself, and then I'll let you start using my expensive guitars. Otherwise, you got to prove yourself first, right? And that will be a great thing to do for yourself, is to prove it to yourself and earn the instrument, okay? I know that's not the answer you wanted, but it's the truth. Sorry. So Papa knows how to use it? Yeah, I mean, it's a super easy amp to use. It's not that it's hard to use. It's super easy to use. It's just, you're not gonna be able to play with a band with it. It's not very loud. It doesn't have tubes. It doesn't have that tube sound, but it's good for what it does. Does that make sense? There's a reason there's $200 amps, $2,000 amps, and $20,000 amps. And it's not just because they're pretty, it's because they do things. They have sounds that people desire. Yeah, that's like learning to drive in a Jaguar. Yeah, you don't want to do that right out of the gate, you know? Should I learn every pattern of major, minor, and pentatonic scales, or just one of each? I would suggest just learning pattern 1 of the major scale, form 1 of the pentatonic scale, and get good at using those. Understand how to use them, just like a child learns to speak. He doesn't need a dictionary. If I gave my 4-year-old a dictionary, said, go, I want you to speak really well. The dictionary's not going to help him. He needs to learn how to use the words in context. You do too. You having 10 million scales won't make you a great player. There's folks who have literally made a whole career with one scale. Okay? See B.B. King. He's not doing a whole lot, but he's a great player. He was a great player, okay? So same thing, you just got to learn how to phrase. It's all about phrasing. It's not about more notes. You don't need more notes. If you were a great race car driver, or if you were a mediocre race car driver and you wanted to get better, you wouldn't be like, man, how many cars do I need to buy before I can do this? No, you just need to practice. You need to practice your driving. That's what's going to do it, okay? Kyle, my thoughts on Bill Withers. Condolences to the family. He was 81. He lived a pretty ripe life, man. He was, I mean, he was a rock star, right? So, yeah. Sad to hear that of his going, but at the same time, I don't think of things as sad anymore or whatever. I just think of them as this is the time, you know. We all know we're gonna go. He was 81. He lived a full-on life, you know what I mean? So, cool sounds you can make with the guitar. There are lots of them. Any advice on how to do pull-offs? I seem to lose a lot of sound when I do it. Michael, you want to think like you're picking the string. You want to think like your finger picking the string, like this. I'm actually picking the string. I'm really pulling hard on it and letting it snap. This is a technique that everybody, no one gets this at first. 0 people get this, and then they get it when they practice, okay? It only takes practice, okay? Okay, friends, here's the deal. If you haven't already, I want you to do a few things. Click the very first link below to get the PDF. Click the second link after that to get inside of UGS. I want you to do this now. At least, friends, take advantage of the free course that I'm giving you, okay? You'd be foolish not to, because it's literally step by step. It's literally free. It's literally, I'm walking you through it with PDFs. It's me in the studio, high quality, Zooms, comments from other folks inside of UGS. This is here for you. If you don't take advantage of this, I don't know how, I can only help you so much. So otherwise you're going to be floundering, wondering why things are going over your head all the time and why you're not getting it, okay? If you want to get into the nitty-gritty of anything, you've got to get somewhat serious about it. This first 30-ish lessons is the way you're going to at least scratch the surface, okay? And it's there for you for free. So do that. Don't forget that, okay? I'm live with you every single day during the month of April. Friends, I'm not doing this all the time. I'm doing this for the month of April. I do live broadcasts throughout the year, but take advantage of this. This is me in front of you. Or come visit me in Nashville and we'll do it at $200 an hour, because that's how much I charge. Okay, $200 an hour for us to go through those first 30 lessons is going to take a minimum of 5 hours, probably more like 10 hours. So it's going to cost somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 for us to do the same exact material that I'm giving to you today for free. Okay, plus the 1,300 videos that I do on YouTube for you for free, plus the 60 hours that I'm going live with you this month for free. I'm here for you, okay? So let me know how I can help you. I really, truly want to help you, but there's no way I can do it unless you get involved. You got to get your feet wet. You got to do this, okay? I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for everything. These are great questions. I love this time with you because it uplifts me. The rest of my day is bonkers because of it. I love it. So thank you. Great questions. For those that donated today, thank you so much. We raised $112. So we'll keep the lights on at the studio that I can't go to right now, and I can continue to pay the UGS crew, even though we're not working a whole lot right now because we're not at the studio, okay? We're doing these live bits and that's it. So Jason, thank you so much. Emily, thank you so much. Mike, thank you so much. Love you guys. Thank you for being there always for me. And for those that are in UGS already, thank you. Get in there right now. I answer questions in there all day long. So if you have questions as you're doing it, we can interact literally throughout the day, okay? I mean, it's not a chitty chat session. It's more like, hey, would you answer this question type of thing. I do have a family and other stuff, but I'm saying I'm there for you. You know what I'm saying, right? I'm going on and on now, aren't I? Sure I am. All right, I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Tomorrow, what we're going to be talking about, you ask? Posture and holding and pick holding, and then I have some other bits for you too, like, yeah. Okay, this is what we're going to be talking about. Posture, pick holding. We're going to be talking about the pentatonic scale for the advanced section tomorrow. You don't want to miss that. The pentatonic scale, the most powerful scale in the world. You can use it in any key, in any genre, at any point. If you know the key, if you use this one form 1, the one that like all the great solos like Stairway to Heaven and You Shook Me All Night Long and a million other solos were written from, I will show you this pentatonic scale. You will be able to use it today. You'll be able to use it with my jam tracks for free on YouTube, the whole 9 yards, okay? Friends, if you haven't already, like this video. If you have, then don't do it again. Like it one time, thumb up one time, and also share it with a friend, okay? Thanks so much. I appreciate you guys. I love you. Talk to you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. See ya.